probably one of the worst days of my life at work was a day when we were held hostage by a customer. It happens to be that this customer was a celebrity client. In LA, we deal with the rich and famous. And however, we made a mistake. Something happened on a job and we made a mistake. And instead of this customer allowing us to come in there and try to repair it, because things happen, this is what we do, like we're only human. They took this as that this is our industry, this is who we are, and this is what plumbers do. They just scam people. And they went on social media and they posted a link to our Google profile and our Yelp profile. And they said, do everything in your power to write negative reviews about this.
Wow.
Roger, when I tell you hundreds of negative reviews were flowing in within minutes.
Tradesmen built America. Not policymakers or desk jockeys, but hardworking, blue-collared men and women. Join me, Roger Wakefield, on conversations with some of the nation's most successful skilled laborers. This is the Trade Talks. Did you ever think growing up that you'd become a plumber?
No. No.
When did you first realize that plumbing could be a job, a career, a future, anything like that?
I think I was in my late 20s and I was dabbling in construction and different types of stuff like that. And I realized I actually love this trade. There's something really beautiful about the mechanics of plumbing. And I decided to start my own business.
So as soon as you found out about it, as soon as you realized that's what you want to do, you started your own business then?
I did.
You weren't a plumber for somebody else for a while or anything like that, or you had been doing it? Or
I was a plumber for 3 years,
okay.
Working for a company. The only job I ever had in my life was I worked for a company for 3 years. It was a property management company. And I learned plumbing that way and then just got out on my own.
Okay, and you said late 20s, so I'm assuming you went to college.
Yeah, I actually did go to college. However, that was rabbinical college. I was in Australia studying to become a rabbi. I grew up and I still am an Orthodox Jew. And I realized throughout my journey that even though I am a practicing Jew, being a rabbi is not what I want to do. I was actually in rabbinical college. I finished, I left. It was only a 1-year program. When I left, I was looking for something to do. And someone said to me, hey, I have this closet that needs to get painted. Are you interested in painting it? And you get paid for it. And I was like, sure, I'll try it. And I painted the closet. And then at that point in time, I was like, maybe I'll become a painter. I would say that I'm an entrepreneur by nature. I've always had my own business. I had my first business at 7 years old, and I decided that I'm going to hire a painter. And then I started offering painting jobs to people, and I became a painter. Then I got into construction as well.
Okay,
which led to one thing to the other. And eventually I did plumbing work. We hired plumbers as well. I didn't know much about plumbing, but I knew a lot about construction, and I loved construction, and I just loved the mechanics of how things were in general. Once I finished rabbinical college, I was living in New York, and that's when I opened up my own construction business. And when I started doing the painting as well, and started doing a lot of the construction. At that point in time, my kids were 2 and 5. I decided that I didn't want to live in New York anymore, and I wanted to move to California. We were looking for a place to raise our children, and I decided.
So why does anybody pick California? It's a different world out there.
It is a different world out there. I decided to move to California because really of the weather.
Okay, I get that.
It was that simple. I know that sounds random, but I kind of picked a place on the map. It was beautiful weather. I had an opportunity out there, and I believe in if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
And you've done well there.
I have, thank God.
You've done well.
I'm continuously striving to do better.
So So I guess it was you learned plumbing in California or found out about it.
Yes.
What was it about plumbing that you're just like, hey, this is the one. I like this.
I think I would say I've always been attracted to the mechanics of plumbing. I've always been attracted to the mechanics of things in general and how to fix things. And there was something about plumbing that we were the hero.
You bet.
We are constantly the hero, and you're able to help people. Where sometimes people are like, they're like, oh, I'm not touching that. I'm not going to do that. I don't know how to do that, or I don't want to do that. And I don't mind getting my hands dirty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind getting there and fixing something and doing whatever I got to do. It's such an honorable job for somebody that, to me, I was like, this is a great opportunity. And people are not valuing what a plumber really brings to the table. So at that point in time, I was like, I'm going to go all in on this.
I like that. What kind of plumbing were you doing in the very beginning?
I started out doing property management and commercial work.
Okay.
For plumbing.
So you go into office buildings, you take out a kitchen sink.
No.
Move another one, anything like that?
No, this was service and repair.
Okay.
Service and replacement. And we would do a lot of property management. There would be apartment buildings and things like that. A lot of lower end property management, actually, where we got to see all kinds of interesting things happening over there.
Oh, yeah.
Giant apartment buildings and having to replace 100-gallon water heaters with angry tenants that haven't had hot water in a few days, things like that. Or we were doing commercial work. We actually used to do a lot of facility maintenance for high-end stores, like fancy stores on Rodeo Drive and things like that, or in malls and stuff like that.
So, and I love that, because that's how a lot of people get into the trades. They become a maintenance man somewhere. I remember when I was young, I wanted to get a job as a maintenance man because you got your own apartment. I'm like, man, that's what a way to go. Needless to say, I never did that. But it's a neat way to get introduced into plumbing. It's a neat way to get introduced to it, to where you're like, hey, I kind of enjoy this. You said that you started out learning plumbing at a property management company, then you opened your own business.
Yep.
Did you work anywhere for a plumbing company before you ever did it? So
No.
just property management. You know, that's very interesting, because to go from property management as an employee to a plumbing company owner that has never worked in a plumbing company, that's a big step.
It's definitely a big step. I like I said, I'm an entrepreneur by nature. I've always been, and I saw such a need I saw such a need for professional plumbers out there, and that I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this amazing. I'm going to do this better than anyone I know out there that can actually do this and just build a business.
All right. So take just a second, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Okay. My name is Yossi Wachtel. I live in Los Angeles. I own a company called Monkey Wrench. We are a plumbing, heating, cooling, and electric company. We service residential homeowners, single family, dealing with the end user. Today, we do not do any property management. We do not do any commercial work. And
it took you a while to learn to get away from that, though.
It took me a good while, as we spoke about. Like, it was definitely a journey, but thankfully, we're 10 years into our journey of doing residential service and replacement work for homeowners.
Yeah. Good for you. So, for somebody who starts out at a property management company, and number one, I think that's great. It's a great way to get in and get to try a little bit of all the different trades, and then say, hey, this is really the one I want to do right here. Where did you get the mindset? What made you think, look, I don't want to just open a company. I want to open a good company. I want to open a company that does things better than anybody else is doing. Because I would think the logical step for most people would be, okay, I like this job. I like doing plumbing in the work that I'm doing. I'm going to go to work for a plumbing company and learn how a plumbing company runs and grows and does things. But to come straight out of property management and say, hey, I'm going to open my own plumbing company, there's a lot to that. But what is it along the way that made you think, look, I don't want to just open a plumbing company. I want to open a great plumbing company. I want to do things that other people aren't doing. What creates that mindset?
I think it's something that I was born with. It's something that for my entire life, I have always strived for excellence in everything that I do. And I've just been consumed with doing things really, really, really well. And making sure that if I'm going to open up a plumbing business, it's going to be an amazing company. Or if whatever I'm going to do, I'm just going to go above and beyond. Now, I will say, though, Roger, is that I am in recovery for being a perfectionist.
And so to me, that's something you just can't get over. It is what
You
it
can't
is.
get over it.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong battle now. And sometimes being a perfectionist is great because I'm going to create the greatest plumbing company,
You bet.
but it can also be a huge limitation and make me crazy sometimes as well when things are not 100% perfect. So that's why I say I'm in recovery for it.
All right. So when you first started your plumbing company, was it you out running the calls?
Yes. It was just me in a truck. That lasted for a few months until I realized I need to get a helper if I'm gonna take this to the next level.
Okay. In California, the licensing is completely different. So you've been in property management for 3 years. What all did you have to do to open a plumbing company in California?
Great question. I had the necessary experience to be able to apply for a license, and with that necessary experience, I just applied through the Contractor State License Board. It wasn't a big deal. Proved my experience, got signed off on it, and became a licensed contractor.
Now, do you have to take a test for that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And California's open book test, but it's multifaceted. It's not just plumbing.
I sometimes wonder why these questions are even on the test. I honestly, there were two portions. There was the business portion, and then there was the trade portion.
Okay.
And things that were in this plumbing, I mean, these are not even things that we deal with. I'm like, what is this?
That's pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
And Texas has a great exam, but it's strictly plumbing. It is everything from takeoffs to sizing pipes to you actually plumb a dollhouse. So I mean,
Wow.
there's a lot of cool stuff to it. So first you have a written test, and you have the practical test where you actually get in and do things with your hand. But I guess now that they don't even do that on the master, because they do that for the tradesman and the journeyman.
Sorry to interrupt, but you're saying they actually watch you physically plumb something, an actual house? Really? Oh, so
Texas is pretty cool.
That's amazing.
We do some pretty neat stuff here.
That's amazing.
And I love it because there's some states, I think I was talking to somebody at PHCC the other day that said Oregon or Pennsylvania, they took the plumbing license away. It's like there's not even a license anymore. Y'all just go plumb. And it's like, dude, that's ridiculous. This video is sponsored by High Level. For your 30-day free trial, go to gohighlevel.com/Roger Wakefield. What did you have to learn after you started your business?
I think I had to learn how to run a business.
Okay.
Actually, I know that that's what I had to do. I thought I knew how to run a business. I thought that it was pretty simple. You just get a client, go out there, do the work, get paid, and that's it. And you're running a business. But now all of a sudden I needed to become a marketer. I needed to become a bookkeeper. I needed to become a dispatcher. I needed to become a call center rep. I needed to become a fleet manager. I had to learn skills that I actually had no idea how to do.
And when you started your company, you didn't even know all that, did you?
I had no idea. I assumed that I did. And
it's just a business.
It's just a business. And then you get 1, 2, 3 trucks, 4 trucks, and then you could still wing it. And you still think you know everything. And then you realize very quickly that there's a reason why people hire professional call center reps. There's a reason why you want to have a fleet manager. There's a reason why you hire a good marketing company. There's a reason why you're able to do this. You can do it. You can wing it and get by. But if you really want greatness and excellence, you need the right people.
And I love it. I heard, it's actually a friend of mine, I heard him speak one day. And you hit on it about hiring a professional call center rep. The funny thing about it is at most companies, that's the lowest paid person. Hey, we're just starting you out. You're just answering the phones. We don't need to pay you much. It's a meaningless job. Just sit here and answer the phones. It's a complete wrong way to look at that, isn't it?
It is. It's so counterproductive. It doesn't make sense. I heard someone once say that the call center is like the redheaded stepchild. We just stick them in a corner, and that's it. And it actually doesn't make sense because they are the forefront of your company. They are literally the face of your company. And it's one of my favorite things to do is to walk into our call center. Actually, by the way, we're actually going to change this from call center to contact center. We have to officially roll this out in our company because I feel like for the longest time, it's only calls, but today it's so many points of contact. But that being said, I love walking into our contact center and just chatting with the people that work there because they are really, they're bright, they're energetic, and that is the face of who we are.
Do you have mirrors at your stations?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A lot of people don't even understand that.
Absolutely.
Explain what the purpose of the mirror is.
We need to see how we're showing up continuously. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, I feel like we are able to, we get off a call or we're in the middle of something, maybe there's a text message or there's something going on. It's very easy for us to, in the trades, we can call it having a clog filter. And we need to clear our filter in order to be able to get ready and prepare for that next call. So if we're just doing something and being distracted and all of a sudden the phone rings, we pick that up. Or, I mean, everyone's on a headset, but let's assume that's the headset. Press the button. And we don't even realize what our face looks like because maybe there's something else going in our mind and our filter is not clear. Where if you look at that mirror and actually put on a smile, fake it till you make it. Eventually, that's just it's going to be a real smile.
And it comes across in your voice.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't get that.
Absolutely. You can tell right away from a mile away if someone's having a good day or a bad day in that call center.
It's funny when I've had companies ask me to come out and walk their company and tell them what they're doing wrong and this, that. And one of the first things is I walk into the call center, I'm looking for that mirror, and it's like, why don't you have a mirror here? Like, why do we need a mirror? And then you explain it to them like, yeah, that stuff doesn't work. It's like, that's why you need help.
Absolutely.
Because you don't believe things that really do work.
I'm willing to try anything and encourage as much as I possibly can to get people to believe that, our mindset is everything. And I mean, that translates right into the field as well. And really every position in the company, it's so easy for us, maybe if we didn't have a good call beforehand, whether it's on the phone or even in the field,
carry it with us.
Just carry it with us. You're just carrying it with us, and you gotta clear your filter before your next call.
It's funny. I used to pull up, and before I'd get out of the van, and not even pull up. I'd stop right down the street and do like breathing techniques, like, okay, fresh air in, old air out, good attitude in, old attitude out. And do all this for a minute and then pull up. And by the time I pull up, man, it's like, grab my stuff. Let's go. Here we go. And it's funny how little things like that can change your mindset, change your attitude. And it's like, okay, here we go. What was it you were thinking when you first said, look, I want to open a company that does things better, that does things different? What particular things were you thinking of at that time?
For me, it was customer service. I am fascinated by customer service in general, by good quality customer service. There's like this age old thing of like, if you talk about a plumber, they say, oh yeah, the guy's got his pants are half down. But that goes all the way up into the way we answer our phones. You used to call a plumber and be like, yeah, how can I help you?
Right.
And I was like, this is not the way it's supposed to be. We're a business that happens to offer plumbing services. Mm-hmm. And that's how it should be. And historically, our trade is so old school in the way we actually operate that that's not how it is. And I happen to be fascinated with like nice restaurants. I love a good restaurant. I love a nice hotel and things like that. And once you get accustomed and experience good quality customer service, you're like, this is what I want for everything. And it just becomes an addiction. Good customer service becomes an addiction. So why should you not get good customer service when calling a plumbing company? And that's something that I've always been attracted to for since I'm a kid.
Okay. So that's what the big deal was before you started.
Yeah.
Now you've been in business for how long?
18 years.
18 years. If you started a new company today, what would your focus be on?
If I started a new business today, I would do every single thing the same, except I would hire great people from the get-go. I held off in hiring the right people in the back office before for many years, thinking, oh, I can wing it, or we can do it, or maybe it's not so important. But as I reflect and I look back, I could have propelled that much faster if I would have had some of those key pieces in place from the start.
What's the culture of your company?
The culture of our company it's a wonderful culture. It's a family feel. It's a fun environment. I mean, we do have a slogan on our trucks and around, which is number one and number two business. So we are a fun company by nature. I'm a fun guy. I love fun. And that is the culture of who we are. At the end of the day, we spend a lot of time at work, more time than we do at home. And if we can't have fun while doing it, then you're in the wrong business.
So you've got one office in LA?
We have one centralized office in LA.
And is like downtown LA?
We're about 8 miles east of downtown.
Okay.
Yeah.
How crazy is it getting around LA? How do you make money? Because it's got to take 3 hours to get from one job to the next.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. I mean, the guys do take their trucks home, which make it easier.
You bet. Remote dispatch.
Remote dispatch. Today we're on Service Titan, and it's easy to be able to dispatch from your home. We're Ubering parts to guys all the time. We're couriering them over parts to them. We try to maintain as much stock as we possibly can on our trucks as well, so we can, eliminate supply house runs and things like that. And you want to try to maximize as much as you possibly can. And I mean, obviously, you don't want to solely dispatch based on geography, but sometimes that really goes into play when it comes to when it comes to it, because you don't want guys running across town, which will take you 3 hours to get somewhere, and you're only able to do 2 jobs in that one day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's real.
That's tough. I mean, here in Texas, I'm going to tell you that or here in the Dallas area anyway, I'm going to tell you we're probably 50% efficient, meaning we can really bill and work about 4 hours a day. And that's probably on the average. There's a lot of companies that they focus on a little city outside of Dallas, and that city is their logistical zone right there. And I love that because they can get from one job to the next in 15, 20 minutes. It'd be like going from LA out to, I'm going to say Oakland or something, or even something smaller than Oakland, and said, okay, all we're doing is working in this town. Traffic's a whole lot easier to deal with then. You're in one of the biggest metropolitan areas with the worst highway system in the world. Do you deliver materials to people's houses every day so they can restock their trucks, or how do y'all set that up? There's
an art and a science that goes into a lot of this, and it's a work in progress. Ultimately, our ultimate goal, which we're working towards, we're almost there, is that we're going to be replenishing guys' trucks every single day from the material they used the previous day, delivered out to them. We're almost there. We currently have our own VMI, which is a vendor managed inventory, so like our own supply house in our shop today. Mm-hmm. And so we're supplying materials from our shop, both in plumbing, HVAC, and even electrical, right out to guys' job sites.
Yeah, I like that, because I mean, if you look at it logistically, it may be hard to have parts at my house at 7 a.m. when I leave. But if you knew that my first job is going to be at Fred's house, well, now you dispatch your Uber driver. I love that you're using Uber. I think that's great. you dispatch your Uber driver with my parts, so they know every morning, look, Uber knows my first job, I need 5 people at the office because we've got 5 different plumbing vans. We've got to go out. How many trucks do you have right now?
We've about 35.
35 trucks, all running service all day, every day.
Every day.
Service and replacement.
Service and replacement.
Okay.
No new construction.
No, that's good.
None of that.
That's good. You get paid good, and you get paid today.
We get paid today.
That's
COD. The money is in the bank today.
I know. Isn't that nice?
It's such a foreign concept, and it's amazing.
So I guess it would be hard to have 35 Uber drivers sitting at your office in the morning waiting for their first parts run. But I love that idea. Look, when you get to your first job, there will be a box on the front porch. That's your parts to restock your truck. I think that's fantastic.
One of the things that one of the things that have been instrumental in our efficiency, and it's something that we're constantly working on, is efficiency. Is we've created these kits. We created this beautiful Milwaukee kit, and it has, like, for example, let's just say we're installing tankless water heaters. So we have a tankless water heater kit, and we have every single thing that you can possibly need to install a tankless water heater.
I mean, you're talking like a whole pack out.
Whole pack out. Yes, there's
tankless.
Oh, tankless, and so it's like, you have everything from 2 brackets for an expansion tank, 2 expansion tanks, just in case there's an extra one needed.
See, we don't have hurricane or earthquakes, so we don't have to worry about brackets. It's just mounted there.
Okay.
Well, we have different parts of the world.
That is correct.
Exactly.
That's correct. We have to have a bracket for everything, and you have to brace that expansion tank. But there's
brace the water heater.
We have to brace the water heater. We have to brace everything.
My mind. We're like, ours ain't moving.
Have you ever experienced an earthquake?
No.
Oh, it's wild. It's wild. If you're sitting, the last earthquake, I was sitting in my backyard actually on a Zoom call. I look up and I see the pool water just going like this. It's wild. It's really, really wild.
That's crazy.
But it's what's interesting is that if you don't have things strapped, water heaters will fall over, and you'll show up to a job and you'll see a water heater that's literally like this.
The water lines are
water lines are literally holding it in place. And gas. Yeah,
dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
In California, do the plumbers run the gas?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's funny, I get people reach out to me from around the country and like, oh my God, you run gas lines? It's like, yeah. They're like, doesn't that scare you? It's like, why? And they're like, well, that's gas. It's dangerous. It's like, it's 2 ounces of pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can't keep that in the pipe, I need help.
Right.
So I love to hear that California does that too.
Yeah.
Do your guys ever come into the office as a team, as coaching and huddling and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Mondays for sure for us are a non-negotiable. We do a Monday morning training every single Monday for all our field technicians. We're a member of a best practice organization called Nexstar, and Nexstar has something called Service System, which is the 6 steps of the service system, and we ultimately train on Service System. So it's not a technical training, it's not a sales training, it's a customer service training. It's a service system training, and every month of the year, we train on it. So we start from January to June, and then June to December on a new, or I'm saying July to December on a new on the 6 steps of the service system, and that's our training. We train it hard. We're role playing, and you've got to be intentional about customer service and customer experience, because sometimes it's very easy to get caught in this, like, yeah, you think you're providing good customer service or good customer experience, but sometimes you don't realize the words that you say or don't say, how they can be perceived. And you have to be very, very intentional around certain things. I heard a great thing from someone in our company. We actually have a few employees that are former Disney employees. And one of the things that they talk about is how they're trained at Disney, how your job may be to tell people, by the way, the bathroom is over here. Now, on day 1, you may be asked 300 times, where's the bathroom? But on day 7 or day 500, you need to have the same enthusiasm
you did on day
to
1.
say, that is where the bathroom is. It's right there. And
right.
with a smile on your face. So it's really being intentional to deliver that customer service experience. And so with this next star service system that we have and we implement in our company, that's gonna help you to not have to think what to say next. The bathroom is right there. This is how we do it. In our case, in the greet step, is my truck parked okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's something that maybe you get nervous when you show up when you knock on the door and you get intimidated or some way. But if you're given this like little script of what to say and how to say it, is my truck parked okay? You say it enough times, you'll never forget how to say, is my truck parked okay?
I used to love the credibility statement. You know, you show up, you knock on the door, you step back a little bit, and they answer the door, and that, of course, the truck's one of the first things. Hey, is my truck okay? And it's like, do you mind if I take just a minute and tell you about me and about the company and about why I still work here or why I work at this company? And they say, sure. And you're like, well, hey, have you ever used this before? Well, if you've done your homework, you already know they have or haven't or what was done. I mean, you say, let me tell you about me. Look, I was an athlete in school. I love playing sports. I got out and got into plumbing because of one of my best friends. And I realized that plumbing is a team too. You've got a team of people around you, team of people to help you. You're trying to create a common goal. So that's what I love about plumbing and why I got into it, really. And then you say, so I want to tell you why I work at Texas Green Plumbing, because they hire great people and they've got amazing warranties. They really do take care of their customers. And I continue to work here today because of the training that they do. They don't just hire people, they train them to be the best people. And with a company like that, don't you feel comfortable knowing that everything I do today is going to be great? And you spend just 30 seconds to a minute tearing down a barrier, because most customers have been robbed by an electrician, garage door people, the previous plumber, whoever it was. They're afraid of what's going on. They don't know. They're insecure. And you show up and the first thing you do is get them to relax. And it's like, okay, this is going to be good. So I believe having systems and processes. And you know, somebody told me, another entrepreneur told me once one day, if you do anything more than once, have a process for it.
Love it. And
think about it. We don't drive to work a different route every single day. We know what way gets us there quickest, safest, whatever it is. A service call is the exact same thing. Don't park in front of the mailbox. Don't park in front of the driveway.
Don't park in the driveway.
Park in an open place in between the two, hopefully. Park in the same direction traffic's going. Park in, just, there's so many little rules. Knock on the door, step back out of the way. And if you do the same thing over and over and over again, you get better at it. And then it becomes second nature. It's so easy to just say, hey, do you mind if I take just a minute and tell you about me? And a lot of people don't get that. It's that they show up as like, hey, here to fix the water heater. You got to step out of the way. And it's like, okay, that's not how this service call should go.
Well, some people actually don't even do it that much. They just look down and say, hey, I'm here to fix the water heater.
Yeah.
They don't even realize they have to look you in the eye. If I can add one thing to what you're saying, though, is that, so I love the credibility statement. It's something that we teach and we train on to be able to do this. But setting the agenda also is...
Here's what we're going to do today.
Here's what we're going to do is equally as important today. And I'll tell you just a quick story. When my kids were in school, they were must have been like around maybe 6th grade or something like that. My kids are older today, and I have a 25-year-old and a 22-year-old. But when they were approximately maybe around 6th grade or so, we went for a back to school night, and I hated those things, by the way. They were boring and they just wasn't for me. Anyways, we're sitting in the auditorium, and the headmaster of the school was just sharing about different things, and he said, this year, we're starting a new thing in school. And when you walk into the classroom, each teacher is going to share their learning objective of what this year's school curriculum is all about. So I was like, okay, what does that even mean? And then sure enough, we walk into each class and each one of the teachers says, like some of them like kind of kicked their feet while doing so, but some of them really embraced it. And they said, this year, I want to tell you what our learning objective is. And our learning objective is to whatever that may be. And years later, it dawned on me, wow, this is one of the most important things that you can do in any situation. Today, I find myself, if I'm in a meeting with a vendor, if I'm in a meeting with anybody, even my just a friend of mine, if I'm calling him to lunch for a specific reason,
Upfront
set
contract.
the agenda. So many times you're like, there's like anxiety about what's about to happen, what's going to happen. And how many people call up? How often do you actually call a plumber? How often do you call an HVAC company? Like some people, they go years without calling a service company. And they're nervous. They don't know what's about to happen. So just set that agenda, give that credibility statement. It's fascinating.
No, I think that's great. And one thing that I teach people too is, look, know who your plumbing company is before you have a problem.
Absolutely.
If you're waiting in the middle of an emergency, your plumber's the first one that answers this phone. It may not be the best company, may not have the best reviews, but they're the first one to say, I can get there right now. Okay. That may not be who you want. So I teach them, look, know who you're going to call before an emergency ever happens. Then you can do research on them. You can watch them. You can watch them on Facebook, watch their webpage. What are they doing? What are they good at? What are they changing? That way you're at least aware. Then when you do have a problem, it's like, hey, look, I know that y'all are doing this latest thing. I want y'all to look at that while you're here, but I got a problem. Here's what I need. And I think things like that are huge. And it's really funny. The upfront contract is what I call what you did, the agenda. I'm going to tell you right up front, here's what we're going to do. And it's good if you're getting on a call with somebody. It's like, hey, just going to let you know, I have to be off here in 35 minutes.
Love it.
I know you booked it for 45 minutes, but I've got another call. So I'm letting you know up front. But the first time I heard this credibility statement thing, I walked into a best practice group, heard all about it. And I was like, okay, this is cool. But my mind immediately went to my ex-wife and I had gone in to buy computers for the company. And, we show up, the guy's got like, hey, what y'all doing? What y'all looking for? Looking for a computer. Okay. Holler at me if I can help you. Holler at me if you have any questions, yada, yada, yada. Really nice guy. Best Buy. Okay. And I listened to that credibility statement a few days later, and I literally go home and I'm talking to my ex-wife saying, listen, can you imagine if when we walked into Best Buy, that young man would have walked up and said, so can I help y'all today? Yeah, we're looking for a computer. So, okay. Do you mind if I take just a minute and tell you about me and about Best Buy and why I love working here? And, no, I'd love that. Well, I'm a computer geek. I love computers. I'm a gamer, so I like the really fast, fancy computers, but I also understand the business end of it. So I'm just a computer geek, and I wanted to understand all about it. And I came to work at Best Buy because, well, look, they sell more computers than anybody. But the reason I continue to work here is Best Buy sends me to training on all these different brands. So I can tell you about HP. I can tell you about Dell. I can tell you about all these different computers. And knowing that, don't you think that if I can help you with my knowledge, I can help you find the best computer for you? Absolutely. And then it's like, okay, are you looking for a computer to last you a year or 5 years? Do you want one that you can work from your home too, or just the office? And there could be a list of questions that could eliminate 99% of those computers for me. But instead they just say, hey, holler at me if you have any questions. And I'm like, if you approach me, because I'm not a computer guy, I've got probably 20 of them, but I don't know anything about them. I don't rebuild them. I don't tear them apart. I buy the biggest monitors and plug them in and say, here we go. But if somebody walks up to me like that at Best Buy, I'm buying what computer he tells me to buy.
Absolutely.
Because I'm like, this guy knows. He's the professional, not me. And it blew my mind listening to this credibility statement from a plumber. And I'm thinking about a computer purchase I made 3 days before. Like, man, I wish they'd have talked to me like this. It's crazy. But knowing what to do, knowing what your SOPs are, knowing what your process is and how it works makes it easy to do. It makes it very easy to do. So I love that.
Yeah.
You said you do weekly training every Monday.
Yes.
Do you send your people remotely for training? Do you send them out to do different things, learn different things? How do you train your people to make sure you've got the best people? This video is sponsored by High Level. We've partnered up with High Level because we believe this is the best all-in-one sales and marketing platform to help you grow your business. For your 30-day free trial, go to gohighlevel.com/Roger Wakefield.
So there's several things. I mean, we do Monday morning, which is the service system training, but we also do Wednesdays. We do technical training. So we'll have, I know this past Wednesday, today's Thursday. Yesterday we had Lennox at our shop doing a training specifically on some technical stuff for the HVAC guys. We have water heater companies come down, whether it's Noritz, Rinnai, Navien. They'll come down periodically. We have a whole schedule on all kinds of technical stuff where we'll tear apart units and we'll go through them. We do put a lot of focus on technical training, but it's very separate. This is where our service system training is, and now here's our technical training, which will be on a different day. I would like to say that we also do personal growth and development training. There is an element of the service system, and we incorporate this in all our trainings to actually help people and develop personally, because this is what's going to help us grow and in our business and help them grow in their families by us personally growing as well.
I love that, because a lot of people, we want you to be a better plumber so you make me more money. What the training's all about. You learn more about it, you can sell more of them, whatever it is. I love the personal growth. And there's a lot of companies that do different things, like, hey, we're doing the book of the month club. You know, we want you to all read this book. It may be Think and Grow Rich. It may be Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It may be Chicken Soup for the Soul. You never know. But it's something that has nothing to do with plumbing or HVAC or electrical or any of that, but it opens up their mind.
Absolutely.
Are there any books that you've read that have just changed the way you look at things, see things, or think about things?
So just for clarification, I listen to books.
Okay. I love that.
I have found myself, when I was a kid, I never read books. I just realized
I read 2 books during 12 years of school.
That's
so
amazing.
I'm good. I get it.
I had a life-changing moment. I will admit that I never read a book when I was a kid, ever. I took my son in elementary school to go get tested for ADD. And sure enough, his dad has it. So obviously he has it. And we were talking with the person that tested him, and she said, you know, your son is an auditorial learner. I said, what does an auditorial learner mean? And she said, well, you know, he processes information better through audio. So I would suggest that you start having him listen to books. It will be easier for him. It will be so much better. So I said, interesting. Do you think I'm an auditorial learner? She said, maybe. So at that point, I downloaded Audible on my phone, and I listened to my first book. And I was blown away. From that day on, I have listened to hundreds and hundreds of books. I have listened to hundreds of podcasts, and I still listen to podcasts. I don't listen to the radio, to music, or anything like that anymore. Those days are over. I've become addicted to learning. So there have been several books that have definitely inspired me and changed my way of thinking. I would say that Think and Grow Rich was, you mentioned that was favorites. One of the greatest books ever.
Yeah.
Good to Great was a phenomenal book as well.
Jim Collins.
My father told me when I was younger, he's like, there's this little book. I think you should get it. It's a blue cover. I don't remember what it's called. And I always had that in the back of my mind. And he's like, I think it's about how to get things done and how to do them in simple ways. Do you know what I'm talking about, Roger?
When you said a little blue book, first thing I thought was The Dip but I don't think that's it.
I feel like I saw it here somewhere in your books. You don't have your
You
books
probably
here.
did. Yeah, I've got all my books everywhere else.
The E-Myth.
No, Michael Gerber.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Gerber,
Yes.
the E-Myth. Yes.
So my father told me about this small little blue book. He's like, I think you should read it. I don't remember what it's called. And then one day someone recommended the E-Myth, and I listened to the E-Myth, and I was like, I called up my dad afterwards and I said, hey, is that the book that you were talking about? That is, if you can listen or read one book in your life, that is the book. For a number of years, I have listened to that book every single year. I made it like a yearly thing to do. And it's phenomenal.
No, I think that's amazing. I was literally with Damon John the other day, and he was there speaking, and then I talked to him backstage and out front and all that. But when he was on stage, he says, if you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, he said, I've read that book 23 times. And I listen to people that say, look, read a book a week. And at the end of the year, you've read 52 books. And I look at that different, because if I read 52 books, I'm not going to be able to tell you what 51 of them said. I'll remember the last one. But my thought is, pick 5 books and read each one of them 10 times that year. Now you've got your 50. That's going to be so much better, because imagine if you read E-Myth 10 times over the year. By the time the end of the year is done, you can pretty much quote that book. You're not going to forget anything. It's going to be right there on the tip of your tongue, right in the back of your mind. And I love E-Myth. Michael Gerber's the first coach that I hired. But him, High Performance Habits, Brendan Burchard is amazing.
Oh, wow.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad's great. Sharon Lecter and Robert Kiyosaki. There's so many books out there that I think are amazing. And I'm constantly, and I'm like you, I download audiobooks. Whenever I get a book that's not on audiobook, I have problems. But I will, I'm going through one right now, Breakthrough Advertising. It's hard, but this one is so full of knowledge that I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get through this. It's going to be okay. So good stuff.
I'll tell you something that I do is that I got this advice from an executive coach that I use. And she said to me about this concept of intentionality. And I've mentioned this a couple times about being intentional. And it was actually like, it's definitely a buzzword out there, but I've created that word for myself and made that word where I'm going to be very intentional around certain stuff. So what I started doing was I used to listen to podcasts while I'm at the gym. I used to listen to a podcast while I'm running on the treadmill, or I'm doing things and it's in the background. And yet you're right. You're able to retain some of the information, but really if you're asked to repeat it, you're not going to be able to. And so what I started doing was it's actually in my calendar, and it's book time or podcast time. And that's me time. So sometimes I'll go to the gym an hour early, and I'll sit outside and I'll with a pad and paper. And it's hard to sit there and do nothing than just listen to a book. I'll go to a park, I'll go to random places, or even on a podcast, and I'll literally take notes. And that for me has been game changing, because being intentional with actually listening to the stuff and writing notes, you get to flip back through it and remember, oh my God, what was that? And then you go and you mark that down, you get to pause it, and just, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's neat. I had Tommy Mello in here, and whenever he sat down, he said, look, can I get a pen and paper? I said, sure. How, show me something. He said, no. He says, I want to be able to take notes.
I love it.
And it's, a lot of people are like that. Do you ever go back and look at your notes?
I do.
Because a lot of people don't. And it's funny because I had this conversation with somebody last week at a conference. I walked in social media marketing world in 2018. Found out about this new tool or something called YouTube. Never heard of it. I'd heard of it. That's just where I stored my videos. So it's kind of crazy. But I found out about it and started learning it and using it. And I've been back every year. I continuously go back and learn. And one of the neat things is I know the founder, Michael Stelzer, great guy, his team, his people. And somebody always comes up to me at that event and says, look, how did you walk into this event and walk out and grow to become as big as you did? What, everybody wants to, what's the one thing you did? I said, implementation. I said, literally, I sat in here for 3 days taking notes. And when I'm in a conference taking notes, I'll write down a lot of stuff. If it's something that's like, hey, I need to act on this, I'll put asterisks next to it. If it's something I really know I need to act on, I'll take the asterisks and then put an arrow on the outside pointing into them. And if it's even more serious than that, now I'll underline it too. So it's like, okay, this is something I've got to do. So then when I go back through my notes, it's like, okay, important, and I'll do all that. And of course I can go back to this important and look what's right before it or after it. How does it all fit together? But I think that's the biggest thing is just implementing what I've learned. How do you do that when you read books?
Well, they say obviously success is the speed of implementation. Success is really the speed of implementation. And what I'm very big into goal setting in general. And I create daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, quarterly goals. And I'm very, very intentional about that. My brain works differently. And I need to, if I don't have it written on paper and knowing what I'm going to do today, my ADD will take me down a rabbit hole. And it will be nighttime and I have no idea what I accomplished.
I love that.
And so, something that we do in our company, actually for the entire company, is what's called 100-day plans. And every 100 days, we're creating a set of rocks and what we're going to do, how we're actually going to get those 4 things accomplished. Typically, they're 1 personal and 3 business, or sometimes maybe 2 personal and 2 business, depending on who it is. But for me, that's so important. And it's really hard because where my mind goes, I want to accomplish everything. I want to do everything. I look at a page full of notes and I want to do everything. But I realize how it's impossible to do everything. And if you actually think that you're going to do this entire list, you're foolish. You're going to accomplish nothing. So a lot of times I will spend a couple days before the quarter, or a couple days, definitely like a week before the new year, where I'm really mapping out what am I looking to accomplish, personally on a personal level, as well as on a business level. It's just mapping it out and being consistent with really, really strong goal setting is the only way you're going to actually do this. So I'll pick a thing from my notes. I'll look back at my notes. They may be highlighted, they may be underlined, but just because it's important doesn't mean that's the top priority that's going to move the needle for you. And yeah, if you think that you could do everything, you can't.
And I think I teach people to do 1-3-6, 1-3-5 goal setting.
Okay.
1 month, 3 month, 6 month, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. And each month you go in and look at them. Is there anything that needs to shift back? Anything like that? And that's funny because I've been taught this. I've done it before in the past. My life changes so fast, I don't even goal set anymore. It's like, look, I'm taking advantage of every opportunity that comes along. Are there certain things I want to focus on? Absolutely. And I know what they are. I would be probably a lot better off to sit down and write down everything that's in my head, but because sometimes things just slip, it's like, oh my God, I forgot about that. So it is. I love that you can set it down and do it and mind map it like that. I think that's phenomenal.
It's not easy, Roger.
No, it
is not easy. I will say though, that with AI and note-taking, it's been game-changing for me. Being able to being able to have like automatic note takers and things like that, where if I'm on a Zoom call with you and we're discussing things and maybe I forget that little action item, it's going to pick it up and give me a summary, and I can actually say, create a to-do list based off of the conversation that we just had. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this is phenomenal to be able to do.
It's amazing what we can do in the world today.
Oh yeah.
So you're up to 35 trucks right now.
Yeah.
33, 35. What's your growth plan?
Our plan is to continue growing. I'm very, very fortunate that I have both of my kids in the business today. We're continuing to grow. We're just scratching the surface, honestly, with where we're at. LA is a huge market, huge market. We have employees that have been with us today for 10 years, 9 years, 8 years. This week we celebrated a 9-year and a 5-year. And we're making a difference in people's lives. I'm not leaving anytime soon. I mean, we're literally just scratching the surface. We had an employee that said to us, he's the first person in 3 generations to ever buy a home, thanks to Monkey Wrench.
You bet.
And I'm like, I have nowhere to go. This is my passion today. My ultimate goal is we want to create an academy where we're able to take people right out of high school that don't belong in college because they just learn differently, or college is not for them, or maybe they don't know what they want to do and they want to join the trades. So for me, creating an academy is definitely on the short horizon. We're hoping to, we're definitely getting a new building this year. We're hoping that building, we can build an academy into that building as well. And we're just going to continuously grow.
Love that. Marketing, branding, everything. I mean, your logo looks great.
Thank you.
You're doing, from the outside, everything looks good. What's your biggest problem?
I think the answer is probably the same thing that everyone would say. It's people. We're not in the technology business. We're not in a product business. We're in the people business. We're in the people development business. So getting the right people into our company that are bought in to to what we're trying to accomplish, to provide that amazing customer experience. We're not just plumbers. We're not just HVAC techs. We're not just electricians. Finding those people that have the right mindset, whether it's in the office or in the field, and getting them to all row in the same direction. So that's where the academy comes in.
If I had a room full of plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs back there, a room full of them, how many could you hire today?
I would probably hire 10 guys right now, without a question, maybe more. I will say though, is that it's crucial before you just jump and hire people. You have to have the processes in place in order to be able to do that. You actually have to have management in place to do that. And management is not there to stand there with a whip.
Management is support.
Management is support. Yeah. And people need support regardless of the position you're in. You can't have a call center without a call center manager. You can't have a dispatch without someone who's in charge of dispatch. Technicians need somebody to talk to. They need someone to lean on. It's not easy out there. It's not easy out there dealing with customers. It's not easy dealing with other people. It's not easy doing everything we ask technicians to do today. They need somebody to lean on.
All right. So take just a second again. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
My name is Yossi Wachtel, and I am the owner of Monkey Wrench. We are based in Los Angeles. We are a plumbing, electrical, HVAC company.
And you're starting to do social media?
We are starting to do social media. Absolutely. We've been on this track now for just almost 3 years now, where we're creating a ton of content online on our learning center. You could check us out on our YouTube channel. Can I plug my own YouTube channel?
Absolutely.
Our YouTube channel is all things plumbing, heating, and air. And check us out, where we're creating new content every single week, as well as on our website. We have a learning center.
And it's neat because if you search all things plumbing, he comes up number 1. But I come up right under it, like 4 or 5 videos. It's kind of crazy last night.
That was pretty insane.
So tell me about the best day you've ever had at work.
That's a fascinating question. Best day I ever had at work. Mm-hmm. I know this may sound crazy. I'm not money motivated. I love money. I love the things that money can
we
get
need
you.
It to run.
We need it to run our lives, and I love the finer things in life. But some of my proudest and greatest moments are watching people grow. And almost every day is my favorite day. I don't have anything specific that stands out, but a few little things that come to mind is when I see my leaders and people that are in the company growing. Sometimes I walk into the company and my son, he's busy doing his thing, maybe talking, leading. My other son's busy doing his thing. The leaders in our company that I've watched them grow from call center to general manager or to marketing manager to all these different level positions, and watching them do their things, and everyone in the company busy doing, growing, technicians that are just out there thriving. That's what gets me going. That's what continues and helps me grow every single day. But more importantly, it fuels me. So that really is my greatest day.
I love that. Tell me about the worst day you've ever had at work.
Probably one of the worst days of my life at work was a day when we were held hostage by a customer. It happens to be that this customer was a celebrity client. In LA, we deal with the rich and famous. And however, we made a mistake. Something happened on a job and we made a mistake. And instead of this customer allowing us to come in there and try to repair it, because things happen, this is what we do, like we're only human. They took this as that this is our industry, this is who we are, and this is what plumbers do. They just scam people. And they went on social media and they posted a link to our Google profile and our Yelp profile, and they said, do everything in your power to write negative reviews about this.
Wow. Roger,
when I tell you hundreds of negative reviews were flowing in within minutes. I as a grown man, I didn't know what to do with myself.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know what to do with myself. I had to get on the phone and plead with this person, plead with them. I said, what you're doing right now is you're destroying small business. I said, I'll give you your money back if that's what you want. Allow me to come fix it, do something. But you don't understand the implications that can have on a company. And unfortunately, I saw my whole life flashing before my eyes, and I actually saw all my employees' lives flashing before, and their families' lives before my eyes, which was really, really scary. You have, like, God forbid, the next day we're not going to receive calls.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're out of business tomorrow. Thankfully, I was able to come to a resolution with her, and she said, and she apologized to me, and she actually said, I was so enraged because I've been taken advantage of other plumbers in the past that I just assumed that you were this company and this is what happened, and I didn't even think about it. She wrote on her social media to stop. I contacted Google. We got all those reviews removed. We got all the reviews removed on Yelp as well. But that was probably one of the scariest days of my life.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're not going to tell us her name. No.
I am not going to tell you her name.
No, I'm joking. I don't even. I mean, maybe I do, but it's that's the world we live in now.
Yeah,
it really is.
I'll say is that you need to protect yourself. Obviously, reviews are going to fuel your business, and they can also hurt your business.
Yeah,
but you have to be very careful today not to respond to people the way, don't be be emotional over, or it's this emotional reaction sometimes that people have over these reviews, that it is what it is. Sometimes people become very hot-headed when a negative review comes in. And so you're very fast to get on there and respond, oh, well, that's not what happened, actually. This and you create a whole story about what actually happened.
It's like that really wasn't how it was.
Yes. Yeah, don't do that. Exactly. Try to call up the customer and try to resolve it. Try to do whatever you can to resolve that with the customer, because that review is powerful. It doesn't go down, and the Google algorithm is going to always show that negative review first.
Oh yeah,
that's how it works. So do whatever you can to resolve that, because unfortunately, there's always going to be two sides to a story.
Yes, indeed. This has been amazing.
Yes,
I appreciate you coming in, and this has been fun to do. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Roger.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.